always starts with a concept, doesn't it? This was the drawing I've kind of figured out. Did the layout on the floor. Always a good idea to do this. And then started gluing and screwing. You'll see these brackets here were used to help try and keep the right angles correct. Nice and tight. Lots of glue, waterproof glue. A lot of screws in there. Panels were all pre-cut. I, cut them all to the right size that I wanted beforehand. Got the back panel on. Not a lot of room to work in this, so you can see all the screws are like 2 inches apart, maybe. It wasn't that far. Bottom's on, a bunch of screws in there too. Again, everything's pre-glued, glued and screwed all the way together. Got it flipped over. Again, not a lot of space to work, so I have tanks on the other side of that aisleway. Get it all moved around and put back in the corner where it's supposed to go. I believe now it's up on the blocks I had it on. So I put 3 lentil blocks underneath there and a bunch of 2x12s. 2x10s, 2x12s, something like that. Run it all the way across for runners underneath, support. And then that corner of the room is what I had available for it. So got it pushed back there, set up in place. And we have the overhead sump build, which I was also doing out of plywood. Now this concept was, it's 80 or 84 inches. It's the full length of the tank. And then 12 inches by 12 inches. So 1 foot by 1 foot, the full length. And then I'll get the baffles put in. Project stalled a little bit because I was waiting on trying to figure out how I was going to do the glass in it, because I do want to do fluidized media in this as well, several chambers worth. But we'll get back to that project here as we're finishing up some other things. Then here's the extra bracing. So I cut extra strips too to overlap the seams and brace across, basically framing it in as well. This is a King of DIY, Joey Mullins original design. There you can see from a top-down view how they're overlapped, crisscrossed overlapped, and glued the whole length all the way down through them. And then screwed in on the edges, and then screwed in every 4 inches or so, all the way down through for rigidity. Did the same thing then with the bottom and the rest of the sides. There you can see on the right side the glue. It's the waterproof wood glue. I did end up using stainless steel screws in this too. There's the rest of the framing in. Again, this just adds extra strength to the build. Makes it look nice too, but really we need to do strength, get good strength on it. I have this pulled out from the wall now because I need to do all the way around to make sure I have that bracing all the way. Because even though the areas in the back don't have glass in it, the glass is actually nice and rigid too and adds an extra layer. So here we moved on to fiberglassing. So that's the worst part of the whole thing. I didn't mind the pond shield. I didn't mind the build, sawdust, all that stuff, glue. The fiberglassing was, I didn't like it. But here, doing all the seams, fiberglass resin, the shredded fiberglass roll, fabric. I did put a piece of bracing across the back too, just to help with any kind of flex. Yeah, the fiberglass that was just the worst. Did not like that part of the process. But it's needed. All the seams and the edges, corners. If you're going to have a leak, it's going to be there. And I did the whole bottom. Again, for extra rigidity strength across the bottom, because it was the only thing that wasn't doubled up. There it is. Fiberglass is finished. Looks good. Right here, I got the light on it, back in its spot. That metal tray going across the top there is going to be the extra added support then for the overhead sump. So that's just sitting in place currently as we get this figured out. I wish I would have done more videos in this, but unfortunately, I didn't think to do that. This was more of a, let's see if I can actually do this kind of thing. And I didn't want to waste hours of video if this wasn't going to work out. I do have a few on here, though. There you can see the lentils on the bottom running across. They're pretty spaced out, but the thing that really makes it better and more rigid are the 2x10s or 12s, whatever I had going across underneath. So it runs the full length underneath there. Here's the video of the fiberglassing. The audio I had for this as well was really faded out, and there was music playing, and you know, I don't want to have an issue with it getting flagged because of the music playing. It was Chris Stapleton in the background. But this is the sanding process of the fiberglass, and sanding it all down, getting it cleaned up, and then I have to follow up with, I think I did it, this was after the second layer of the fiberglass resin for the bottom, and then we move on to pond shield, which is a lot more fun part of the whole thing. Don't get me wrong, pond shield is a little difficult to work with to like get started, but I'll pond shield every day over doing any kind of fiberglassing. I did not like the fiberglassing part of it, or the sanding part, because that was really rough too. But we ended up getting through that, getting that all sanded down, ready to go. Exciting parts too, because you start to see some like fruits of your labor kind of thing. You start seeing things come together. Love the way the bracing turned out too. I ordered the glass ahead of time, so I knew it was ready to go. Again, that metal bracketing going across the top is the support for the overhead sump. And it's like a wire rack channel or something for a server room kind of thing. Just left over from a job. Ended up figuring, okay, we'll just use it for this. Just add some extra support. Spanning across that whole area. Sorry for the flip on the screen here. And then we're back to the photos. Like I said, sanding process. This is the second time I sanded it down. And then, first heavy layer of pond shield. Now, to be honest with you, I got the different colors. I wanted it black, but I got the blue first, because then you could tell where you've already done. And honestly, I love the blue. And I kind of wished I would have planned it to be blue, because I really, really like that blue color. And the blue color was actually cheaper. For some reason, I guess the black pigment or the black is very sought after, so it's more expensive. But the blue was cheaper, so I figured, well, heck, I'll do the blue first. Then we started into the coats of the black, just to show progress. You know, we did the first portion of the coat of the black. Now there was 2 layers of blue, and then I think total 3 layers of black on there. So five coats of pond shield. And I looked into various other types of rubberized coating and seal coating things and stuff like that, just to try and, you know, save on some cost, because I'm all about trying to save on some cost. But I'll tell you what, I don't think anything does as good of a job as the pond shield does. You know, a little challenging to get the timing right. I did add the denatured alcohol to it to slow the drying process, which gives you more time to work with it, which is good. You know, you need the time, especially depending on the sizes, you know, the plywood tanks you guys end up building. But this is, I think, 2 layers in of the black. And all of these had a few hours of dry time till the next coat went on. Like, while it was still tacky, it was time to roll the next coat, which again took a little bit of time. This is a 500-gallon tank, not without its challenges, that's for sure. But I do love the way that black turned out. As it dried, it got like a deeper black, more of a shine to it. Really, really nice. Yeah, black pond shield, pond armor. I get confused on it. I look at it online, and it comes up either way as what it is. Pond armor or pond shield. This is a 2-part epoxy seal coating. You can see the difference with the black. Like, the black's nice. It's really good. And I'm happy I did the black. But when I saw the blue on there, and my wife said the same thing when she walked in, she goes, "Ooh, that's nice." So if I do another one, maybe I'll do the blue. You know, I saw Joey at DIY, King of DIY, did his large 16-footer in blue. This may have been coming up on the final coat. Yeah, there's the dry from the final coat. And then I believe next we start working on glass install. That was a challenge. The glass is heavy. It's 1/2-inch thick tempered glass. I had custom ordered for the right size. I could have found something and then tried to customize the tank to it. But just being my first build and my first go of it, I just want to make sure that I did everything the best I could. There's bracing across the top to keep from flexing, because I was running those spreader bars up there too to push pressure against the top of the glass, and 2x4s braced around the back so it didn't puncture anything on the pond shield, and then hammered down so it put pressure on the front pane of the glass. Front pane went in first, then the bracing went on before I installed it. And that front bracing I had to notch going across. And then the great thing about that 80/20 material is there's the slots in the sides, so the panels for the lids are going to slide right into those. Here we are. We are water testing the 500-gallon Central American cichlid tank. We're almost halfway, getting there. A little on the slow side because of this little rotten bugger here. Taking forever, but well, it's something when you see something that you built come together like this. Something amazing. Hopefully more in the future. We get the substrate figured out. We get stocking, lids, overhead sump's going to run all the way across the top. It's going to be awesome. Looking forward to it. How's it going, everybody? This is Pops with Third Jet Aquatics. Wanted to touch base on what I've been working on here, this plywood tank build. Now at this point, I am working through the first water test. I did a little bit in here last night just to make sure that the first 4 or 5 inches or so held, which was quite a feat in itself. Just happy that it did that. Now we're at a point where we're about halfway full of a 500-gallon plywood tank build. This thing is, I'm impressed. I can do quite a few you know, decent things with building stuff, and most things work out pretty decent for me, but this one I'm really impressed with. Nervous, you know, with the filling and testing and hoping. But it's really coming together, and this is a very exciting, almost like a proud parent kind of a moment in all this. So I think I'm gonna stop it here about halfway full, let it sit a few days, make sure we don't have any, you know, major issues with anything, and we'll go from there. Thanks for checking in.